He wakes before the ship does, in the hours when the lumen strips still flicker dim, and the hum of the reactor feels almost like a heartbeat. The soldier opens his eyes to the silence of steel. His bunk is narrow, his breath visible in the cold air recycled 1,000 times through filters older than his bloodline. Around him the barracks sleeps, rows upon rows of men, indistinguishable in the half-light, dreaming the same sanctioned dreams. He has been told that this is peace, that this stillness before the orders come is a blessing, a moment of reflection before duty claims him again. Yet peace on a ship like this feels like being buried alive, wrapped in armor, surrounded by machinery that breathes louder than he ever could. The walls sweat oil. The floor vibrates with the constant growl of the void engines. And above, beyond the bulkheads, 1 billion stars burn, cold and uncaring. His name no longer matters. The Imperium does not remember such things. To the Munitorum, he is a number, a unit of flesh and obedience. To the officers, he is another face in a helmet, another finger on the trigger of the Emperor's will. To himself, on rare nights when the dreams return, he is a boy who once saw the sunrise over fields of real soil. He can still remember the scent of rain and the weight of a sky not made of metal. But those memories are fading, like old paint under acid wind. The Crusade does not tolerate nostalgia. He dresses in silence. The fabric of his fatigues clings damp to his skin. The armor plates hang heavy from their hooks. Each piece bears the scratches of countless deployments, each mark a sermon in itself, proof of survival in a war without end. He runs his fingers over the aquila etched into his chest plate, its wings smeared with grease. 2 heads staring in opposite directions, one toward the light, one toward the abyss. He wonders which direction he faces. The klaxon sounds. 3 slow tones, the rhythm of obedience. Lights flare, boots slam against the deck, and the barracks erupts into motion. The chorus of the machine prayer begins, voices low and rough, chanting the same words they have spoken every morning for years. Blessed is the Emperor who gives purpose to the worthless. Blessed is the machine that carries his will. He joins them automatically, his voice blending into the collective drone. Faith here is not belief. It is habit, muscle memory of the soul. In the mess hall, they eat nutrient paste the color of ash. The air tastes of iron and disinfectant. Men speak in murmurs about the next campaign, about rumors of a new world to be brought into compliance. Someone says the word liberation with a bitter smile. No one laughs. Laughter feels treasonous in a place where hope is rationed like air. When the shift bell tolls, they march through corridors lined with scripture carved into steel. Through obedience, redemption. Through war, peace. The words are everywhere, like rust that has learned to speak. The soldier reads them without thought, letting them fill the spaces where doubt might otherwise live. In the training bay, servitors pace between rows of men, their mechanical limbs clicking with metronomic precision. Laser guns are raised, drills repeated until thought is erased. You are not men, the sergeant reminds them. You are instruments. You do not fight for victory. You fight so that others may live long enough to fight again. The soldier nods. He believes it because he must. When the lights dim to signal rest cycle, he sits alone at the edge of his bunk. His hands are still trembling from recoil that hasn't yet come. Outside the porthole, the stars look like pinholes in a shroud, as if the universe itself were trying to bleed. Somewhere out there lies another world waiting to be united under the Emperor's light. He tells himself that this is holy work, that humanity's destiny justifies every act, every silence. But sometimes when the engines groan and the prayers echo hollow against the walls, he wonders if the stars scream for salvation too. He lies back, staring at the ceiling where moisture gathers and falls like rain. For a moment he imagines it is real water, that he is back on his homeworld, watching storm clouds roll over the fields. But the illusion fades quickly. The air smells of oil again. The hum of the ship returns. Another day of the Great Crusade has begun. And he, like billions of others, will march into history nameless, faceless but unyielding. A drop of blood in the ocean of the Emperor's dream. The orders came at dawn cycle. A transmission sealed with the sigil of the Imperial Aquila and the Vox voice of command. Prepare for planetary descent. Compliance operations begin in 12 standard hours. No further details were given. None ever were. Questions were not encouraged within the ranks of the Crusade. Questions were dangerous, like cracks in the hull that could let the void in. Yet, as the words faded through the loudspeakers, something lingered. A tremor beneath the usual tone of duty. It wasn't the message itself, but the way it was received. The quiet stiffness of the officers, the mechanical precision with which they avoided each other's eyes. The soldier noticed it, though he told himself not to. He spent the next hours polishing his laser gun until its barrel reflected the pallid light. The routine should have calmed him, but it didn't. Around him, men prepared in silence, moving with the weary grace of those who had done this countless times before. Armor checked, rations packed, prayers whispered. And yet, under the rhythm of discipline, there was unease. Faint, like a pulse beneath layers of steel. One of the older guardsmen, a veteran with scars where augmetics should have been, muttered quietly as he adjusted his armor seals. "Another liberation," he said. The word liberation came out broken, as if it hurt his tongue to say it. The soldier looked at him, but the man's expression was unreadable, a mix of fatigue and contempt that had long ago learned to hide behind obedience. Later, during the mess cycle, he sat across from the same veteran. The room was lit by harsh lumen strips that made everyone look like ghosts. Steam rose from their trays of processed rations. Between the metallic clatter of spoons, whispers flowed like static. "They say the last world didn't send tribute," someone murmured. "So the Legion burned it." Another voice replied, "Burned it? Or purged it?" A pause. Then laughter, the kind that doesn't reach the eyes. The soldier said nothing. He tried to eat, but the food turned to ash in his mouth. He wanted to believe these were lies, rumors born of fatigue and fear. The Emperor's will was pure. The Great Crusade was sacred. That was what they'd all been told since the first day they swore their oaths. But as he looked around the table, at faces blank from repetition, he wondered, if this was divinity, why did it taste so hollow? When he returned to the barracks, he found one of the data slates left running by mistake. On its cracked screen flickered fragments of a report, an incomplete transmission, half corrupted by static. Resistance minimal. Civilian casualties within acceptable thresholds. World secured for Imperial compliance. He replayed it 3 times, listening to the calm tone of the Vox officer reading those words. Casualties within acceptable thresholds. The phrase lodged itself somewhere deep inside him, a shard of ice he could not pull out. He lay back on his bunk and stared at the ceiling. The engines hummed softly, steady as a heartbeat. For the first time, he noticed how alive the ship felt. Not as a vessel, but as something that consumed. It devoured worlds, memories, even the names of those inside it. How many soldiers had slept in this bunk before him? How many had been ground into dust for a cause they could no longer define? A soft hiss broke the silence. The servitor tending the corridor passed by, its mechanical limbs trailing incense smoke. Its mouth, half flesh and half metal, murmured fragments of the canticles of the Omnissiah. Through steel, salvation. Through sacrifice, eternity. The soldier shivered. The words sounded less like prayer and more like confession. He rose and wandered toward the observation deck, a forbidden act outside designated hours. But the night cycle was long, and he needed to see something that wasn't steel. Through the thick glass of the viewport, the stars looked infinite, yet impossibly distant. He pressed his hand against the cold pane. The reflection that stared back at him was faceless, hidden beneath a helmet's shadow. He thought of home again, of fields, rain, laughter that hadn't been rationed. It felt like a heresy to remember. But what frightened him more was how hard it was becoming to recall the details. The faces were fading like data corrupted by time. Perhaps that was mercy. Perhaps forgetting was the only way to survive the crusade. Behind him, a voice spoke. Quiet, low, almost reverent. "You ever wonder," the veteran said, "if the worlds we burn ever stop screaming?" The soldier turned, startled. The man's eyes gleamed under the dim light. "Don't think about it," the veteran continued, his voice flat now. "Thinking is how you end up like the ones they are a sign." Then he walked away, leaving the words hanging in the recycled air. The soldier stayed there long after, watching the void. He thought of the Emperor, a being of pure purpose, the light that guided humanity through the darkness. And yet that same light demanded so much blood to shine. He wondered, if one could stand close enough to that divine radiance, would it still look like light? Or would it burn like fire? When he finally returned to his bunk, sleep did not come. He lay awake, listening to the whisper of the engines and the faint murmur of 1,000 men breathing in unison. For the first time, those sounds did not comfort him. They sounded like chains.